Oh, welcome to another edition of What the Fuck Happenings here in Mendham with another new camera where I didn't figure out where the microphone is, so my bad. Anyway, $8 might be interesting and useful. Very small camera, can do underwater stuff and whatnot. We'll see how it works out in the future. Yes, coming soon, probably. Surprisingly good quality, I think. The little test video I made seemed pretty good anyway. It does this widescreen thing, so it kind of fucks up the edges, but I suppose that's the effect you want from one of these little sports cameras and whatnot. So, just thought I would do the review type video. What was provocative, thought-provoking. So I guess I'll go through the trashy people first, sort of. Anyway, yeah, Paul's ego. I don't know. I really don't like the whole live streamy, roomy thing much, and it's just too big of a waste of time. So the amazing atheist with some chick, the new wife. I don't know, new girlfriend, whatever. And then I guess that's Scotty, and I guess that's I don't know, a dog in a human suit, but it just surprised me. I mean, it's, I don't know. Maybe I'll click on that one later, and we'll just find out what the story is there. I mean, girls are crazy, so I guess it's possible that there's women sleeping with these people, but I don't know. It scares the hell out of me. But anyway, so back to Paul's ego, though. I mean, some implication, last I heard he was sterile. And now apparently the girlfriend's pregnant or something, so I guess there'll be something for me to ridicule for the next forever, if that's true. So that would be definitely a reason to dislike Paul. I mean, the very fact that he wanted to have kids ever anyway is just a reason to find. I mean, that's always kind of obnoxious, especially when it comes from people who have lived kind of depressive lives with all kinds of emotional problems. And yet they somehow think, oh yeah, throwing somebody else into this mess. Like how many stages worse than your current life would life have to be? It's like people who've actually been suicidal. They've actually thought about committing suicide, and then they have kids. And you say to yourself, so what? You think the odds are that your kid's not going to have any life experiences that could possibly be worse than yours? And that means they would have the desire to kill themselves that was a little stronger than your desire, and they'd actually do it. You can't imagine that happening? Come on. This is not brain surgery, so what else is it but insane ego? And, insane ego in the sense that, Paul thinks he's really fuckable, and I just don't get this. Yeah, I mean, from what, a Sasquatch kind of perspective? I don't know. I mean, it's just, I guess I'm just not nearly gay enough or something to be able to say, wow, yeah, that beardy shit is so cool. I can't, whatever. I can't do that. My brain doesn't go there. So anyway, that's irrelevant much, really. It's just the entertainment part of the internet. But yes, it's obviously not very entertaining from my perspective. It's just evidence of the blight that is the human condition and the idiots that are opening their mouth. So that brings me to Snake Plisskenest, who made a video, Jordan Peterson, I thought it was Pearson, but whatever, and other stuff. Jordan Peterson, wasn't the other guy like G-name Patterson or something? Well, it doesn't really matter. I'm sure it's the same idiot. But he agrees with him. The tranny-phobe who believes in traditional values or something. And his big claim to fame is he wouldn't call a she-male, whatever, she-malia, whatever. I don't follow along enough. I probably shouldn't be. Well, I did watch the stupid 2 hours with Joe Rogan, so you get a good enough idea just from that of what an asshole the guy, douchebag, and to sit there and, ew. So that was a smelly piece of video to watch. And I really don't even think, I don't think Ray really does identify. I don't think he'd hang out with that guy. I really don't think so. But anyway, enough of that said. There's just a lot of little things he says that are they're just so wrong, you know. The whole "what doesn't kill you makes you stronger" kind of attitude, which is just, you know. So anyway, he's kind of said little things like, you know, he's lost his ambition, in a sense that he has no ambition, and I don't buy that kind of an argument. You know, I don't think he'd settle for his life as a busboy for another 30 years. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't buy that. But anyway, moving on to other things. Yeah, this Steel Air, yeah, that's her name, something like that. S, yeah, so something. Anyway, I post a link. Mentioned before, but yeah, she did a video. I guess I'll just the most recent one. Humans are more important than animals. Might have been the one where she's complaining about her boyfriend that isn't vegan. But anyway, either way, both of them have that in it. But anyway, just very personal and expressive, and in a way compelling to watch, in a sense, for me personally, just because there's a lot of similar you know, dissidents trying to keep your own place in a world that is just so upside down. And the more you think about how upside down it seems, the more it gets to you, the more and more, oh no, and then you'd have another thought, and it's, oh no, that's another bad news. And it's like inside your brain there's some place that your brain always knows to jab you, where it just guts you. It's just the, you know, that's the place you never want to get hit in your brain. And it's just some thoughts are just connected right to that, you know, that place that just, oh no, I'm going to have that feeling again. You know, it's just a sick, you know, kind of, and so you're always trying to think about the wrongness in the world without it ever touching one of those things that are going to be, you know, whether you get the electric shock or whatever you want to call it, the psychological shock of, oh shit, I am in just such a mess. You know, this is, you know, such a bad movie. Anyway, and just sort of realize just how bad things are. Well, anyway, so I guess it is kind of a hopeful. I mean, it's sort of troubling to watch other people struggling with depression and you know, finding mechanisms to make living in a world that's wrong somehow right, and you know, that's sort of the struggle. And so it's kind of sad to see that, but it's also you know, in some sense, I hate to say, important, and you feel good about the fact that at least the next generation, so to speak, at least there's somebody on Earth who's paying attention, and yeah, and so you sort of appreciate that. And then there's just the idea of the fact that they're interesting characters for their age. You know, these are kind of some of these young people. They're kind of smart. You know, they know more than one language. They're pretty competent in a lot of ways. You know, they're broken because of the fact that they find something it's not a pleasure cruise, this living thing. It does have all these, you know, negative things in it, and they're not insignificant negatives. Nothing to glib about. You know, hysterical reaction isn't even an overreaction. Hysterical would be probably the more appropriate reaction. It's just that we're all too afraid of hysterical reaction. Admitting how bad things really are would be it's probably too much to bear, almost, kind of argument. Is it really are that bad? But anyway, So I don't know if I need to go into any details. Just weird little things. I mean, the Snake Plisskenus guy has always been kind of a make stuff up stuff kind of person. I mean, he says things as if, I mean, they're, I like it because I have to admit I've probably committed the same cheat of you're saying something for exactly the first time you've ever put the things together as if they're kind of an established, long-held truth somewhere. And it's just that it just occurred to you and you just logically put it together and it sort of sounds right. So we're back to kind of a Pyrrho argument. It seems like that seems right. But when you really think about it, it probably doesn't make any sense at all. And so he was doing this whole thing about what it is that, how he views, apparently, relations between men and women. Apparently it has something to do with smells and all kinds of other crap that, frankly, I don't even know how you would even, no one even has a natural smell anymore, so I don't even know how that would even enter into it. It's, at least in my experience, I haven't slept around, but even just walking around, I realize that nobody smells naturally, so I don't even know what he's talking about. And then he has this whole theory that evolutionary, there's some advantage to certain smells produced because they're an expression of your immune system, and therefore we're mechanically doing all this crap where we're selecting people based on how they smell because they have an opposite immune system, which would be conducive to making stronger offspring because they have the advantage of two different immune systems and blah, blah, blah. And you're saying, I don't think any of that's happening. I don't think they've even found that happening in any other species walking around on planet Earth. I mean, gorillas don't. They're not that picky. Get real. You think they push when the chick puts her butt in the guy's face, or her uplifted vagina. You think he really says it doesn't smell right? No, he fucks it anyway. Fuck them all, he says. All right. I mean, there's no, I mean, I just don't buy his theory that this smell thing has anything to do with choosing fuckables. So yeah, bullshit. Nonsense. So anyway, I think he just made that crap up. But you can't tell the crap he made up from the crap he might have read, or from the crap from crap. So, that's the catch of all this, is that there has to be a conversation about it, and an argument about it, because you can't just take anything on face value of somebody saying it. And that's a lot of this conversation with stupid Pyrrho is about. Is analysis and proper description, and I would argue that his analysis sucks, and his vocabulary is ludicrously disconnected from what words really mean. So I might play a little Pyrrho clip. I think there was some other thing I wanted to mention, so let's see if it occurs to me to mention what the other thing was I wanted to mention. Can't get it off the top of my head. No, it had to do with somebody else who made a video or didn't make a video. Christopher Anderson. Yeah, so fake Sagan. It's kind of funny. Yeah, he hasn't made a video in a couple of weeks, I think. And it was kind of funny because he bought a camera, expensive, just for this purpose of being a video producer. And yeah, he'd never made 2 videos with it or something. It's kind of funny. From my perspective, it's just, it's kind of bizarre. So somehow he lost the ambition, somewhere in that process. I don't know exactly what the causes of that are, but whatever. You're entitled. It's just it is kind of curious. Curious. Yeah, so I guess I can play some Pyrrho shit. I mean, everything is just so vaguely stated, and and so he's almost using Professor Anton rhetoric in this one part, and it was just, And so he doesn't point to anybody he's really talking to. So he made a video on hypocrisy, and he was clearly talking to, part of it was referencing me, merely because I pointed out that his videos have been technically sloppy for like 6 months. I mean, you know, ever since he decided to do this whole streamy thing, you know, there've been some really rotten videos in the sense that they didn't have audio. You know, he'd left videos up that would have 10 hours of video, and only 2 of them have actual conversation, and the rest of it is just his TV in the background. Stuff like that. I mean, stuff that's just kind of obnoxious to anybody watching, because they could end up wasting an awful lot of time thinking there's a video here when there's no video. That kind of thing. And then, you know, so I reference it, and he thinks that this is a big subject for me. No, it's not a big subject for me. It's not something you call hypocrisy, because I merely point out that, you know, your videos have been suck in terms of their consistency. And, but, you know, nothing wrong with saying that. And I'm not a hypocrite, because, frankly, if my videos suck, I don't like it. And I generally try to do something about it. I don't just sit there and say, you know, tough shit. I'll say, tough shit that this video is a test. So, yes, if it's got problems, I'm sorry, I'm apologizing. So there's no hypocrisy. You're not very apologetic, I guess is the point. And you're not even considerate enough to put in the title broken video or something else to indicate that, like even the ones with your iPhone, when you're talking to somebody else and the part where you're announcing who you're talking to is cut off, you could have at least modified the title to, you know, regarding who you were talking to, just so there was some ability to follow along. I mean, that's the complaint, is that you're just kind of inconsiderate to people who would watch your videos because the content was incredibly unreliable. And that was my critique. There's nothing wrong with that critique. Calling me a hypocrite doesn't undo the fact that your videos appear to be very rude to your viewer. Fact. Anyway, and that's in the context of his, you know, I'm a technical genius bullshit. Anyway, so we're still, you know, there's so many things about what he says in this video that I could play the whole video, but I'm not going to bother doing that because I'm really not in the mood. You know, but you know, he talks about morality and does this whole spiel on making moral judgments about the rest of the world, and I guess that's a veiled, somewhat reference to me, and saying that there are certain truths about your life and the efficiency of doing certain things, and you can't get around that truth of that in your stupid relativism perspective, like, he kills more people, he eats different animals, he eats more animals. You can't do this relative shit to undo the fact that you're a criminal, you know, by pointing to some worse criminal. I mean, that's just the lamest excuse. But anyway, so he's doing this whole thing, and then he starts, basically the theme of what he's saying is, the only thing you can control is you, and you got to improve your morality, and this, he's saying all that while he's surrounded by this nonsense, you know, economic justice, thorium, social justice. So all of those things don't happen by you not raping. Me not raping doesn't stop rape. You know, me being for thorium energy doesn't make thorium energy. Somebody else has to be for it, and I have to convince others, and you have to win the democracy's opinion. And so he's downplaying this vital role of influencing each other's perspectives. And, you know, he keeps talking as if he's having these conversations merely because he finds them interesting or entertaining, or in some way they'll advance his perspective or something, when I'm certainly here for no other reason than as a desperate hope to correcting for harms I see as being real and repeated in the world. Now, I'm not doing it for any other reason. There's nothing else in it for me, so to speak, besides alleviating my fear for the myself and the future victims of these stupid